So Galarian Slowbro I've liked since they actually showed off his full image, but he has 95 of health, 95 defense, and 70 special defense, which is pretty good, especially with health investment. He'll survive some hits, so have a good amount of hits. 100 attack, 100 special attack, which is really good considering his signature move. I think it's Side Shell Arm. Am I right? Yes, Shell Sidearm hits either physical or special depending on which does more damage. So it's really good that he has even attack stats. And he has 30 speed, which doesn't really matter because he's never gonna... The speed doesn't matter because he's slow, but he's bulky enough to survive some hits. Plus his ability, Quick Draw, is really good. He has a 30% chance to move first in his priority bracket. So if nobody uses a move with extra priority in this act, it's pretty much a Quick Claw. It's literally a Quick Claw, but I think with a higher percent, because I don't think Quick Claw is 30%. Yeah, it's a better Quick Claw pretty much. But he also has own tempo, which it's not that great on Slowbro because it's really good now, the ability itself, because it's now immune to Intimidate, but there's not many times where you'll just get confused. Regenerator is also a really good ability, but it just depends on what you want to run on Slowbro. Like if you're setting up, Regenerator isn't good, but if you're not, Regenerator is really good, especially if you're being a tank. Regenerator is great. But one way to run Slowbro, and for the most part his item, you could either run Citrus Berry, you can run Assault Vest, just whatever you want in the last spot. I just like having the burst healing with Citrus Berry, and being a slower Pokemon, I don't like... You can run Life Orb, or for a couple of these sets, you can run Specs instead of Citrus Berry, but I would replace the ability if you run Specs, because the Regenerator and Specs or Scarf is a really good combo, or Band, just one of the choice items, and Regenerator is really good. But I don't like running Life Orb on a slower Pokemon because you don't know how much damage you'll take before the Life Orb. Also, if you run Life Orb, I would also run Regenerator. But I like the Citrus Berry. But Psychic and Shell Sidearm for the stab, Flamethrower and Scald for great coverage. I'm glad they gave him regular Slowbro's moves. Like they gave him a lot of his moves. So he has a lot of water and he still gets the fire and ice and all that. You could replace one of those with the Ice Beam. I think that'll be more for the next DLC when like Guard, Chomp, and stuff get introduced. But I don't think it's that necessary now. But again, between these two moves, I like Scald. You can also run Surf in this last spot instead of Scald if you just want more damage. But I like the chance to burn. But like especially on a physical attacker, the chance to burn might just completely take them out. But pretty much with Quick Draw, you always run Slow Nature. You don't want to lower the attack, especially if you're on Side Shell Arm. You can also replace Side Shell Arm if you want with Sludge Wave. I wouldn't replace it with Sludge Bomb because the 10% chance of poison isn't worth it, but Sludge Wave does more damage. But it doesn't have the physical or special hit. You could also replace Psychic with Side Shock, but with Side Shell Arm, I like running Side Shell Arm because if they bring in a special wall, the attack will do more damage. If they bring in like a Chansey or a Blissey, the physical version will do more damage, and that's why you normally run like Side Shock. But Side Shell Arm has the same effect pretty much, but it still hits whatever does more damage, which is really good. But you'd also, if you are on Psychic Terrain, I would run Expanding Force for sure. If you're on Psychic Terrain, it's 160 power. So if an ally sets up Psychic Terrain, then Faints or whatever, or your doubles, I would run Expanding Force versus Psychic. But a physical Slowbro, because you can run... That's also another thing about Galarian Slowbro, is he can be physical or special, and you won't even know sometimes with the first attack, because he could use Side Shell Arm, and you don't know if he's physical or special at that point. But max health, max defense, Citrus Berry. Again, you can run Band and Regenerator, or whatever you want with that combo, Life Orb, Regenerator. But Avalanche, Side Shell Arm again, Zen Headbutt for stab, and then Avalanche and Earthquake are really good. I like Avalanche because if you get hit, it has 120 base power, and if it's super effective, that's a lot of damage. It's more than a Blizzard with 100% accuracy. Earthquake's just really good coverage, but he doesn't have as good physical coverage as he does special coverage. Like, there's not much more. Like, Poison Jab's really the only other move. Well, he has Iron Tail. You could also run Liquidation. That was the other one. Liquidation's good if you want to replace maybe Avalanche. Liquidation's good coverage. But I wouldn't really run that. Iron Tail has a low accuracy. Ice Punch I wouldn't really use. But he has good moves. But you can either run a Specs on this or a Dynamax. If you're Dynamaxing Slowbro, I think Quick Draw is a must, because you're not going to really get Regenerator much if you Dynamax, unless you survive all the turns of Dynamax and immediately switch out. But you can run, this is a Dynamax one. I would still run Side Shell Arm because of how Max Ooze and Max Knuckle work. It's not in here yet, but Side Shell Arm does the same damage as Sludge Bomb, and that does the same, and Sludge Wave, it's the same thing. You'll be right in here. So I would use it. It should do 90 damage when Dynamaxed. So there's no point of not running it. Plus, if you physical or special, it goes away when you Dynamax, but it's whatever. Blizzard, Future Sight, Fire Blast. You could also run Hydro Pump in the last spot. You could also run, if you expect to survive the Dynamax, which you might, but because you're so slow, I was gonna say run Expanding Force, but even if you survive the Dynamax, whatever, something's gonna hit you unless Quick Draw activates. But I would say run Citrus Berry just because of the burst healing, and especially Dynamax will give you a lot of health back. But you could run Life Orb, but you're slow, so I don't like running Life Orb. But another thing you could do is Specs Regenerator with this, but replace. You could run a Specs Regenerator with the same EVs and everything, but I would not run the low accuracy moves. I'd run Flamethrower, Psychic, and then either Ice Beam, something like that, to just do a lot of damage, and then Regenerator switch out. But a more setup Slowbro is Slack Off, Calm Mind. You could also run, well no, I was gonna say Lumberry, but you're poisoned, so it doesn't matter. So Slack Off, Calm Mind, Stored Power, and then Side Shell Arm. Pretty much the idea is you're gonna Calm Mind. Your defense is already maxed out. You're gonna Slack Off, Calm Mind, raise your stats as much as you can, and then Stored Power is gonna do a ton of damage because of the stat boost. And then Side Shell Arm is your other stat move. But what you could also do is replace Calm Mind with Curse. You could replace Calm Mind with Curse, and then replace Stored Power with probably Zen Headbutt for the stab, and just be a bulky attacker, and then switch, and then just put it in the special defense instead of defense. Just run a special defensive nature. But it's better to do the Calm Mind because Stored Power with stab is a really good move, and you have a higher defense normally, so you'll take physical hits way better. But Slack Off is really good. But some of the other moves he learns, Nasty Plot. Nasty Plot's really good on a Trick Room. So if you can Trick Room, like it doubles, if they Trick Room, your teammate Trick Rooms, and you Nasty Plot, that'd be a really good combo with some strong moves. Especially if you can Dynamax after that. But Liquidation's good. Trick Room, it also learns Trick Room, so if you want to set your own Trick Room, that would be really good in Dynamax if you can Trick Room. That would be a case where you would Trick Room, well, 5 turns, you would get the last turn, but Trick Room would be really good. Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is another coverage move. It also learns Yawn too, which I didn't notice at first. Yawn's a really good move, especially on a tank. You could Yawn them. It also learns Thunder Wave. You could Trick Lagging Tail because it doesn't really affect you at all because you're already the slowest thing. So you could Trick Lagging Tail and then go from there. Nasty Plot. I wouldn't recommend Nasty Plot, but then whatever you want from there, set up from that. It also learns Amnesia and Iron Defense. So if you really want, you could Amnesia, Iron Defense, Slack Off, and then Stored Power for just like an amazing, just a straight up tank. Just, I'll take any hit. Icy Wind's really good for doubles, but that's pretty much Slowbro. And I'm gonna double check actually that it learns Icy. Yeah, it learns Icy Wind for sure. It should learn Icy Wind still, but Icy Wind, and I already forgot the other one, but it doesn't matter. But that's how you use Galarian Slowpoke in Pokemon Sword and Shield.